Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bored and Annoyed. I'm Jackson.
And I am home at the movies.
And as a bonus for you, we are going to be bored and annoyed on Netflix today.
Which doesn't happen very often.
No, the most bored and annoyed I get on Netflix is when I'm searching for something to watch.
Or, well, there's that. Or anytime you see an Adam Sandler original movie.
Oh, shit, I suppose we probably should have dove into a couple of those for
Ridiculous Six.
I hear it's terrible.
They're
the
all
most
bad.
Watched movie on Netflix still, or no?
I think it was supplanted by Bright.
Okay.
I think. Bored and annoyed. So obviously we're discussing all the original, well, not all. They have way too much content for all, but we're going to be discussing the Netflix series,
Yeah,
the originals.
We've seen a few that we liked recently, and, you know, instead of putting it on our regular episodes where we typically talk about movies, and, you know, obviously it's harder for us to align when we've finished these, so we figured we'd finish all of them.
Yep.
And then
talk about all of them.
Yes. So what do we want to start with?
Well, do you want to start with, because we're going to be saying some pretty good things about some pretty great shows. Do you want to start with maybe some of the misses that we've seen on Netflix?
Like 6 out of the last 7 Marvel shows?
Yeah, that's going to be the asterisk for this episode, is we're actually basically going to be skipping all of the Marvel shows because we've talked them to death.
Right.
Except for the latest season of Daredevil, which we will get into.
All right.
But I got a list of some things that maybe didn't work so well.
Okay.
So one of the first things, I'm going to say this right off the bat. Anime on Netflix, more often than not, is garbage.
Okay.
You can just drop most of that if it's an original one from Netflix. So there's one called Devilman Crybaby.
Okay, you just, like, I thought you were going into Devil May Cry here. That's what my brain went to.
No, that was wishful.
Video game.
That was wishful thinking.
That would be entertaining.
Yeah. I watched the first 3 episodes of this show. It's about, like, demons coming and they possess people, and it's really cheaply animated. The characters are boring. The conflict is boring. It's needlessly gory. It's one of those animes that tries to be adult, so it shows like tits and stuff.
Right.
And it's just bad. It's just a bad show. I couldn't get into it after, it's probably closer to 2.5 episodes. So don't watch that. Don't watch Children of the Whales. This is kind of like that. Oh God, what's that new Peter Jackson movie that's coming out?
Oh, the cities one, one, Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines. It's kind of like that. Societies have been spread apart onto different islands, and they've all been isolated. And they're actually not traveling on the sea; they're traveling on like an ocean of sand.
Okay.
And there are like magic people on some of the islands, and then there are some islands that have technology or whatever. And, most of them, there seems to be these secrets and all this stuff. But it just got to the point where I was like, none of these characters are interesting. This world isn't interesting enough. It's animated well enough. The drawings and the backgrounds are fine. But it's really not worth your time. And I got to the point where I saw a pink-haired dude, and I just got tired of seeing all these effeminate dudes running around. And I just said, I'm done. This is just enough for me.
All right.
Yeah, and then they've got some adult comedies that aren't very good, like Big Mouth, which is about these kids. It's very Family Guy-esque. These kids are going through puberty. One of them happens to be gay, and the other one is seeing it's almost like a puberty monster. And it's telling him to do like terrible things, like jerk off in class and stuff. And
this is he imagining this? Or?
I believe he's imagining it. Yeah. Yeah, so
so is Big Mouth like the imaginary friend then, or what?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
He
and you tried to watch this?
I tried to watch it because I had a friend at work suggest it to me, and I just said, no, this is just, and even he said it's really not that great. So I would skip that, and then there's F for Family, which is another Family Guy wannabe set in the 70s, except there's no talking animals. And it's fine, I guess. So that's kind of like the animated section that I've watched of Netflix, which is generally pretty disappointing. Except for Voltron.
Voltron was pretty good. You said that got good, right?
It got good, then it got okay again, but it's still better than all the other stuff.
All right. Well, the only like thing that I can offhand that I can think of that I wouldn't suggest watching, and I feel like people liked this, so maybe I'm in the the minority here, but was Altered Carbon.
Right. You actually talked me out of seeing that.
Yeah. So basically, it's the future, and this guy gets killed. He's like a criminal or whatever. It's been a while since I watched it, to be honest with you, but he can change, like you can change bodies.
Oh, okay.
So he's like this Asian dude who wakes up, and he's played by Joel Kinnaman.
Oh, RoboCop.
Yeah,
right.
And I actually like him. I think he's pretty good. Yeah, but yeah, the effects in it, like when I first started it, I was kind of fooled into loving it because I was like, wow, they can put this on TV now.
Right.
Because it looks amazing.
Yep.
I only got about 7 episodes in. There's only like 3 left that I need to watch, and I didn't finish it. So that tells you what, it was just kind of meandering the same shit over and over and over again in every episode.
I might check out the second season, because guess who's starring in the second season?
I forgot. Who is it? It's your boy, isn't it?
Anthony Mackie.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes.
He's going to raise the quality, man.
But James Purefoy is in it.
Okay.
He was the bad guy in the show The Following, which was like the last Netflix, like kind of mystery, or not Netflix,
Fox?
Network TV.
Right.
I started to say net, and Flicks just came out.
Right.
But yeah, Network TV. It was on Fox. It was Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
And James Purefoy played like the the head of the cult, and I really like him.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed that I didn't like this, because I'm a fan.
And it's sort of what, cyberpunky kind of future.
Yeah. It's almost like it feels like Blade Runner a little bit, like the cities and shit do.
Right. Which is too bad, because I love that aesthetic, but if the story's not good, the story's not good.
Well, and the story isn't terrible. It's just that it feels like you're just watching the same fucking thing over and over. Like after 3 episodes, I was having trouble sitting there like excited to watch the next one.
Right.
Which I feel is like the key to these streaming shows is you want to just be able to polish off like.
It's the Achilles heel of the Marvel ones,
Right.
We're not going to go into it too much, but it's like.
Oh yeah, you're like dreading watching the next episode.
You can't. I sort of was thinking about it the other day, and Jesus Christ, we said we weren't going to talk about them.
Whatever, just do it. Who cares?
But like, I think the real problem is that they don't create any sort of like nothing really happens in episodes, and when things finally do happen, you've waited so long for something to happen that it just feels anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's like the first 4 episodes are like the setup, and then there's meandering for like 5 or 6 episodes.
And you can't do that on streaming, because like it's weird, because streaming comes with benefits and it comes with detriments. More benefits, I would argue. You can make an episode as long as you want. You can make your series as short or as long as you need it to be. You don't have to worry about is it appropriate enough for advertisers or whatever.
Right.
But the problem is that there's no sort of like cliffhangers for like commercials to come in, or a cliffhanger to get you invested into watching the next episode. That's the problem with the Marvel ones. It sounds like that's the problem with Altered Carbon,
too.
I
wasn't into it, to be honest with you. And it sucks, because it excited me. It's a science fiction show that has really good production quality.
Right.
The performances aren't terrible. Like I said, I like Joel Kinnaman.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have to watch The Killing at some point, because I hear he's in that, and that's really good. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Well, I would not recommend it.
You said a high production value sci-fi, and it made me think of there's another one on Netflix like that I just could not get into, which is the new Lost in Space.
Okay, yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I watched 2 or 3 episodes, and I don't want to say it was bad.
No,
it's just not.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
Like, the special effects are fantastic, but I mean, and this shows my level of interest in the show, but I watched maybe a half an hour.
Okay.
And I was just like, I can't believe this is how you started your show. This is so boring.
Right. Yeah. The first episode was kind of introducing you to everybody. Maybe I'll watch that at some point. I didn't hate what I saw of that. But again, you're right. It's like I had no desire to really start the next episode. But I would imagine that's a good show for them to have on there for families and shit. Like I can picture kids really liking that.
Oh, yeah.
show.
I could see myself well, maybe not. I had ADD when I was a kid. Maybe I couldn't have sat through it. But I mean,
how did you cure your ADD? You don't have it now, or
I still have it. I said had past tense, like it's no longer with me. It's still my affliction,
right?
But I mean, the thing is like, why would you stick with watching a show like that when you're on a streaming service that has all these other great ones like Stranger Things or whatever?
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
So which one do you want to go into first? Do you want to just go into Stranger Things?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Stranger Things. It's been a while since I watched it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the gist of it is pretty easy to remember. So,
yeah. Kid goes missing.
Yes. Both seasons, which might be its negative, is that the second season's a bit derivative, but I just don't care because I have so much fun with the characters, and there's still arcs, there's still things happening with everyone.
The music is great, the characters are great.
Yep. The 80s aesthetic of the show. It's
probably the best use of nostalgia, I'd say, in like sort of the modern era.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like the opening titles when they come on the screen with the music, the synthesizers and everything, it's fucking awesome. I really like that show. It has good performances like all around. All the kids are great.
Yeah, the kids, I just you're like you either knew kids like this or you were a kid like this. And it doesn't even matter what time you grew up, because I didn't grow up in the 80s. I grew up in, late 90s, but these kids, you just know them.
It's like, it's funny because you just said the 90s, and I'm thinking about mid-90s, the movie.
Right.
I like the kids better in this than I do in that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And I grew up in the 90s, but I feel more closely related to the kids in in Stranger Things.
Well, they're nerdy. They're all outsiders, but they don't take it into a brooding manner. They're before you're a teenager and you're all misunderstood. They're just nerds.
Yeah, they're kind of coming into that, adolescence where, you think your life sucks, but you don't realize how much it will suck in about 10 years.
And they're relatively, I'd say, they're actually just fine with who they are. They're part of the AV club. They read comic books. They play Dungeons and Dragons. That's actually one of my favorite things, is the introduction to the entire series is when they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Perfect.
There's this great, like you're talking about the synth score. That's even before you get to the credits. You just got this great synth score, and it's all like happy and dreamy. And they're playing this game, and they even set it up with like, I rolled a 3 or whatever. The Demogorgon got me. And it's just all this foreshadowing in the first, like, it's a insanely well written show.
It is, and it left off really well at the end of the second season.
Yes,
I believe too, where I was upset that I was done watching it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite character on the show?
I mean, I like all of them is the problem. I can't remember all their names, but probably the kid with no teeth or whatever, the little chunky kid is one of my favorites.
Dennis, I think, maybe.
Either way, everybody knows who we're talking about.
Toothless.
That was a great little bit when he lost his, he has the alien or whatever, the demon in his fucking room, and he's trying to like feed it and take care of it. It gets lost. Yeah, he's good. And Eleven's great too.
Eleven's fantastic. Millie Bobby Brown.
Yep.
Star-turning role for her. She's going to be in Godzilla.
Yeah, there you go.
Hopper, I forget the actor's name.
Oh, yeah,
Chief
he's good.
Hopper.
Hellboy?
Hellboy.
The new Hellboy.
I'm excited for that. I don't know where the hell the trailer is for that.
It's funny. I'm excited for a Hellboy movie, but I'm pissed that it's not
Ron Perlman?
Part 3. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean,
Perlman probably just doesn't want to do the makeup anymore.
No, Perlman was pissed.
Oh, really?
He was just on a Collider Live podcast or whatever, talking about basically how it's a rough subject for him because he tried so hard to get it made, and Guillermo had all these ideas, and I don't think the second one did well enough to garner a sequel. It's a problem.
I think that's unfortunate.
I agree, because who doesn't want another Guillermo?
Right, monster movie.
And he wants to make it.
Yeah.
Like, it just sucks.
Sickening. But, I mean, I like him. Steve Harrington really came into his own in the second season.
Yeah, he's great. From Sliced.
From Sliced.
Or Slice or whatever.
That's his real star-turning role.
Yeah. Well, he plays the same character in Slice, and it's just terrible.
Yep. I liked, even though he's a smaller character, Jonathan Byers, the older brother of Will Byers.
He was my favorite part of the second season.
Really?
Hilarious. Or wait. Jonathan Byers, which character is that?
He's the older brother of the kid who went missing in the first season.
Okay, no, never mind. Yeah, that's not who that's not my favorite character. My favorite character, what was the name of the character who played the Red Ranger or whatever in the Power Rangers movie?
Oh,
the douchey...
I feel like his name was like Billy or something like that.
Yeah, that was my favorite fucking character.
Oh my God, he was a monster.
He was great.
He was just... I actually kind of liked him in that you spend all season with him and he's a monster until about like second to last episode, and then you see the dad be a complete asshole to him. And you're like, oh, okay. And then
he was just a funny, like, douchey, his haircut and everything.
That scene where he goes and hits on the mom.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
It was good when he got his ass kicked, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I liked that Steve wasn't the one who did it.
Right. It was the Jonathan, right?
Who
beat his ass?
It was the girl came in and she tranked him.
Yeah, that's right. And was Jonathan getting his ass beat by him?
I don't even know if Jonathan was in the scene at the time. I think it was Steve
kids?
Harrington.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, up to
how
that,
much I remember.
But at that point, Steve had been a badass in the tunnels with like the goggles on.
Yeah. They had like the scene where they're like holed up in the bus.
Yes.
The school bus. Yeah,
yes,
was pretty good.
That was awesome. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm a
honest.
big fan. That's a good show.
I love all the, obviously there's Stephen King references, but there's just 80s references.
Oh, yeah. It feels like, Stephen King, Stand By Me, fucking the Goonies almost. Yeah. There's a feeling of
it feels like you literally took Goonies, X-Files, and Stephen King, and you just mashed them all together.
It works.
It's
works.
awesome.
What do you think they're going to do in the third season? Because I feel like you can't retread the same kind of plot.
I don't know. I think you have to... I don't know, because I mean, you've got the Upside Down. You've got probably have to deal with that at some point, like the fact that it's just this thing that's there. Like they did seal the hole. I mean, but it would feel almost like Power Rangers or something, or a superhero movie where all of a sudden we dealt with the big threat and now there's a new one. You know, it would just feel a little weird.
Yeah.
So maybe we find out that thing is sentient or I don't know. We got to find a way to do it. But I have faith in these guys, the Duffer Brothers, because apparently they only have 2 more seasons.
They have a plan.
They have a plan. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's good. Now, I feel like we can't move on from this until we talk about that the episode in season 2. The infamous X-Men episode.
Yes.
Your thoughts on it?
It's the one smudge on otherwise a pretty damn great season. It's not even that terrible of a thing, because there are good moments within the episode, but it doesn't feel like it belongs, which is the problem.
Now, in case anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, there's I think it's episode 8 or 9 of the second season where Millie Bobby Brown's character basically is on her own. She runs away or whatever, and she ends up befriended by this crew of like young criminal types who have special powers as well.
I think it's just the older
girl. Okay, yeah, the sister. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very strange detour for the show to take.
Yes.
Now, does it add anything to her character? Aside from learning who her sister is and all that shit.
I mean, what it did is that it helped complete an arc for her in that she didn't have to go somewhere and find somebody from her past to have a family. She already had a family.
Right. Okay.
So in that regard, it does do something. It's just, it feels so out of place. And there are good scenes, like when she, because the sister can make people see things.
Yes.
And the opening scene, even though it's very jarring, is actually really good because she makes the cops see like like a bridge fall down so they can get away.
Now, was there a like flashback scene or flash forward scene earlier in the season of that? Wasn't there like a moment where they showed you that?
Something like that, yeah. I feel. Yeah, I feel like there was. There's
like some odd shit going on there.
And I still like the second season, like a lot. It's still a good show, but you're right. It's sort of meander. It didn't have as clear of a goal.
Right. Well,
So,
I mean, it's very much like the first.
yes.
You know, it's not, I don't know, but I guess whatever. It's still entertaining. So
Yeah.
I didn't care. But,
Yeah.
But yeah.
So which one do you want to go to next?
Let's talk about Maniac, since I just finished that yesterday.
Right. Maniac starring
Jonah Hill, Emma Stone, Justin Theroux, Sally Field.
Yep.
Justin Theroux, by the way, is amazing in this.
He's fantastic. He's fantastic.
It's funny because the show was going for a lot of laughs that I think didn't hit me, but almost every scene he was in, and I don't even know if it's going for laughs, but he's just so fucking hilarious to me, that character.
Yes.
But yeah, Maniac. So the plot is these two people, and they've kind of got, crazy lives. Like they're kind of going nuts in their personal lives. Everything's going to shit. One of them's addicted to this drug, and the other one, I can't remember. Why does Jonah Hill join the pharmacy testing or whatever?
Jonah Hill seems to have delusions.
Yes, he's like schizophrenic.
Yes.
But anyways, they both end up at this like pharmaceutical testing lab.
Yep.
And they're taking part in a trial for these drugs. Mm-hmm. And the idea of the drugs are to make therapy obsolete, basically.
Yeah. Just give you better coping mechanisms to deal with trauma, basically to eliminate all trauma in your life.
Correct.
In the way that your brain functions through these 3 pills that you'll take, A, B, and C.
So there's these trials they do where they take the pills and they end up in these like dream sequence scenarios.
Yes.
And all of them are completely different.
Except for Jonah Hill. And, you're talking about the fact that everybody has a different one, and they're all different. Every episode is different.
Weird, yeah.
And they're all supposed to be separate.
Yes.
Except for the fact that they have a sentient computer that is facilitating all of this.
Correct.
And it gets sad, and it cries, and it fuses Emma Stone's and Jonah Hill's wires.
Correct.
So they go through the journey together.
Now, just as an example, some of these journeys include them like kind of playing like white trash characters who are trying to get a lemur back to this woman.
Yep, that was fantastic.
One of them is like an elf, like fantasy story. There's like a spy one in there.
Yep, there's, like I said, an alien one.
Yes. Now, what's your overall view of this show?
I think it took a little bit for me to get into it because it's almost like an acquired taste. Like as the show goes on, you like it more.
100%.
But it's so strange. And the music, I felt like the music is fantastic.
It is. It's very good. It's well directed by that Cary Fukujima or whatever the hell his name is. Funinaka.
Cary Joji Fukunaga.
He directed the entire first season of True Detective.
Yes.
Excellent season.
Yeah. And this is, I'm sure, a vast departure from that tonally.
It is.
And I feel like it works because it doesn't hold your hand, like you said, for the humor. Some of it lands. I feel like, and it's just like everything else with the show, as it goes further in, the humor starts hitting more and more and more.
Well, if it doesn't land, it doesn't really matter much because it's so weird. It's not like it's bad. It works with the scene. It's not, you're not killed by thinking to yourself like, oh, that was supposed to be funny and, wasn't. But
it's the genius of, it's a joke, but it's also a character bit.
Right.
So if it doesn't work as a joke, you still are like, oh, well, that's interesting about that character. Didn't make me laugh, but I learned something.
But yeah, the show gets quite emotional as it goes. It was way more emotional at the end than I expected.
Yes.
The performances are great, especially, and I hate to say this because I don't like her, but Emma Stone.
She kills it.
She's the best acting job in the show.
Jonah Hill holds his own for the most part.
Yeah, but she's just... although she has the most meat as far as dramatic things going on with her character.
Right.
Now, are we just going to talk spoilers here?
Yeah. Do we want to give this a grade?
Yeah, I'll give it a B.
Okay. I'll give it an A-. I really, really liked it.
Okay.
A lot of that rides with the fact that I feel like the last probably 3, maybe 4 episodes are fantastic.
It gets stronger as it goes.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, the interesting thing is I was on episode 5, I believe. I was kind of meandering through it, like struggling. And then I watched 4 in a row in one setting.
Yep.
Because I was just like, oh, this is great. And what's neat about this is that the episodes are the length of time necessary to tell whatever the story is. It is not a set time. Correct.
They fluctuate because one's 37 minutes, one's 45, one's an hour and a minute or something like that.
Yes.
So they're all over the place, but you don't notice. You don't notice that you watched 15 minutes less of the show because it just fit for that episode.
Yeah, no, the endings of all the episodes come at the right time.
Yes.
Keep you interested in what's going to happen next. And yeah, it's well done.
So spoilers then.
Yes, sure.
So ending.
Ending. I love the ending.
Yeah.
I loved the ending. Now, I'm assuming this is one and done.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know how you do a sequel to this.
I hope it's one and done. Although it would be kind of fun to follow Jonah Hill and Emma Stone on their little journey to Salt Lake City.
Right.
And not have it be a weird sci-fi thing, but just kind of a, buddy romance type whatever. But
that's what I was wondering is, are they a couple?
I think they will be. I'm guessing. I mean, no, it's certainly not,
it's
implied.
Not, it's not primary. It's not the main focus. The focus is that neither of them are alone anymore.
And they're both weird and
And they can rely on people and they've gotten over their personal hang-ups for the most parts.
Yeah, I thought the ending was great. Like I said, Justin Theroux's character in this.
Fantastic, man.
So he was part of the team that created this drug and started this trial. Now he was kicked out.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly why.
I can't either. I think it was the idea that he was very unreliable.
Okay. Yeah, and when you first meet him, he's in a simulation with this virtual reality blowjob thing hooked up to his crotch, and he's in a virtual reality sex scene, and his ex-girlfriend walks in on him.
And he's basically nude except for a box that's on his dick.
Yes. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
It's great. It's super funny.
But he's invited back in because the first character was freebasing the drugs and died of an overdose.
Which was a hilarious scene, by the way. When it was him and Emma Stone, and he just drops dead, and she's like, "This is a test, right?"
Right.
It was great. I loved it.
So he comes in and he's this real insecure weirdo with this wig on, and he's always panicking or whatever, and he's got a super big complex with his mother, who is a therapist.
Yes, his line delivery is fantastic with everything.
Everything, yes.
But when his mom shows up is when things that they just get amazing.
Yeah, so the partner was having trouble with the computer. People were getting they were getting basically stuck.
Yeah,
in the simulations
at phase,
or the dream world or whatever.
On pill C was where everybody was getting stuck.
Yep.
And I don't know if people were dying per se.
Yeah, they didn't really go into that. What happened to them?
Justin Theroux basically kind of plays it off how many people have died in your experiments? Technically 0.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so when Justin Theroux left, his mother, played by Sally Field, is this hotshot therapist, Dr. Laura type.
Yeah, sells all these
Dr.
books.
Phil, yeah.
Yeah.
And basically the ex-girlfriend uses her books, her original books that she wrote on therapy, and codes it into the computer so the computer will have empathy.
Yes.
But then the computer has a relationship with the first guy who was heading it, who died. And when they bring Justin Theroux in, he's upset to find out that his mother is basically the consciousness of the computer now.
Yes.
And then the mother gets brought in to talk to the computer.
Yep.
It's just fucking crazy. Very, very bizarre, fun premise.
Sally Field is probably in, I don't know, probably 15 to 20 minutes of the show.
Maybe a little more. Yeah.
But she's absolutely fantastic.
One of my favorite parts in the whole show is when she has the scene where she's talking to herself as the computer.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. And then she kind of it's funny because she's basically gives up on the computer.
Yeah, she comes out and she's
it's nuts. But then it's you're talking about. Yeah, it's amazing.
I loved when Emma Stone, I think probably the most emotional thing in the show was when Emma Stone actually got over the death of her sister, which you're watching it and you don't it's a great parsing out of information about the character, because you see her and she's just an asshole, and then you see her sister died, and then you slowly figure out why she's taking the pills, which is a great thing about, like, she wants to relive the trauma because at least she gets to spend time with her sister.
Yes.
That's
the whole theme of, like, letting go of, you know. Yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah.
That girl who plays her sister, too, I don't know her name, but she's in Ozark, and she's in The Americans.
Okay.
She's good. That little blonde.
She was good. It was just weird to see, you know, the way that Emma Stone talked to her sister. She was just like an absolute bitch on that trip.
Yeah,
and then you find out why, and you find out, like, she's just got issues. Even before her sister died, she had issues of abandonment, and her mother and her father. Great stuff.
The thing with her father's weird too. The whole show is just filled with these nutty little ideas.
Yeah, because
like her dad is depressed and living in this like tank thing in his backyard.
Yes, it's like
Hank Azaria, by the way.
Yes, Hank Azaria. Yeah,
playing Hank, and I believe that's his name in the.
I think so too, and I liked that because he was like isolated, and it was like this whole like. I think the parents got divorced, and then the mom died. Like left the family. Yeah, and then the sister died, and so Hank is just like, I can't deal with the real world. And it's everybody. It's all about mental anguish, mental disorder, depression, anxiety, all these different things. And I felt like it handled it beautifully. Well, it was funny because like about halfway through the series, I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to be getting from this? Like clearly there's this message in here. Yeah. And then, you know, at the end, I felt like, it has a lot to say about like depression and all that shit. You know, having to wake up to reality. Yes. You know? Yep. And I thought it was good. I was impressed. Yeah. I would hope that they do more stuff like this. Yeah. Because I know they produced it. I think it was kind of their baby, Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. So yes. Yeah. So that was a great show. We've also got another great show to discuss. Yes. Daredevil season 3. Yes. Let's discuss it. Okay. We've been waiting. Yeah. I'm going to let you take off with this one since you are the resident Marvel guy. How does this one stack up? I think this might be the best season of any Marvel TV show. It might even surpass season 1. Really? It might. It's really tough. I haven't gone back and watched season 1 in a long time. So I feel like I can't say that quite yet. Well, season 1 gets a boost because it was like the first two. So when you were watching it, it was something new. Yes. Whether or not that would still be, you know, the case watching it again, I don't know if it. You might be right. This might be the best one. Okay, so basic premise is that Matt Murdock, the Daredevil, he survived the building falling on him and the Defenders, which I never saw. Yep, but you got it. You got it right off the bat. Yeah, right. And he's debating on if he wants to be Daredevil anymore or if he wants to be Matt Murdock. It's about identity. It's about accepting, you know, your place in the world. And then Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, who has been locked up in a previous season, gets out so that he can help the FBI get all these other organized criminals. And he sort of works a deal with them so that he can stay in his penthouse instead of staying in prison. And it's about Matt getting back on his path, telling his friends that he's still alive because they think he's dead. Yep. And kind of telling him that he's still alive. He's kind of like, I'm not Matt Murdock anymore. There's only the devil. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty good though. It was it's pretty good. And then there's a fan favorite threat that shows up, even though he's never identified by his code name. Sure. And he was awesome. Yes. I will say that. I really enjoyed that. I thought he was pretty damn good. I did not think he was great. I was a tiny bit disappointed. He kind of felt like Two-Face did in The Dark Knight, where it's like, God damn, I wish they'd give, you know, like they kind of just wasted this cool character. Yes. But he was, I mean, it was an interesting, you know, way to portray that character. Well, and the thing is that he was thematically relevant because he ended up putting on the Daredevil costume. So then it's like Daredevil versus Daredevil. And it's like, you know, Matt is literally fighting himself, you know, that whole thing. Right. So in that regard, it was nice. I will say I was a little disappointed, and I don't know if you want to get into spoilers right away. Yeah, well, first off, I will give this I'll give this a B+. I'm going to give it a B+ also. Yes. I will say I was a little disappointed we never got to see Matt in his full-on suit.
Yeah, you've brought that up before, where it's like, why are they so like ashamed to put the superheroes in their costumes?
Yes, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to have a show about a blind guy fighting crime at night, jumping off rooftops, what's the extra inch of he wears a red suit while doing it? It's all ridiculous.
It's true. And you put the red suit on the other guy anyway, so it's still stupid.
Exactly.
If that's what their problem with it is.
Well, and then if that's the idea, then you could always, Matt or Daredevil had, like the red suit is his most iconic one, but he had a red and yellow one from the comics. That was like his original costume.
Okay.
You could have just had him have a new costume. He's like, I'm the new Daredevil or whatever. Or like, it's like it's the true re-embracing of who he is. And it could be like a visual symbol or, symbolic of that or whatever. But they chose not to. A little disappointed in that. I'm also disappointed because we never got to see Bullseye be Bullseye in his costume.
Right.
Though he was badass as fuck.
He was pretty tight. Yeah. Like my favorite bit in the whole season was when Fisk is going through his files, like his past, all of his psychological profile shit, and he's kind of just like observing. They do it in a real neat way where, like, Bullseye had a therapist as a kid, and you see that scene happening, and Fisk is kind of just in the background, like watching all of this.
And it's all black and white, really heavy, like noir kind of lighting, where it's like people are silhouetted or people are spotlighted in ways. And it felt very art film-y.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was fucking awesome. And the genius of that character, I mean, like the way they portray how smart he is. Mm-hmm. And he's also a badass.
Yes.
Who happens to be a badass who can beat the shit out of people. But that scene where it's like he nails down everything about this guy so that he can play him like a tune down the road.
Yep.
And it's great.
Yep.
It really is. Fisk in general just elevates these Marvel series.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but you guys haven't come close to this.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is the cream of the crop.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. And he's got that delivery where, everything is softly spoken. He's a very soft-spoken character.
You threatened Vanessa. That's like his big thing, Vanessa.
And he's got one of those scenes where he just beats the shit out of one of his underlings again in this one.
Yes, yep. That was one of those where I was like, okay, well, we established him in season 1, so I know what's coming here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, give me the, what is he? He's like,
give me your coat or something.
Let me see your coat. And you're like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, here it comes. And he just wraps it around the dude's head and bashes his face in.
It's rather excellent.
The three-way fight between Bullseye, Daredevil, and Fisk at the end was
great.
It was pretty fucking cool.
Well, it's awesome too because like there's all this karate type, fast shit going on, and then all of a sudden Fisk just grabs Bullseye and breaks his back in like one move.
Yep.
And that's the end of him.
It's comic accurate. He's a slow fuck, but if he grabs you, you're fucked.
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Now, I feel like we have to talk about the 11-minute prison break single take fight scene.
Fucking amazing.
It's awesome. The only thing that breaks it for me is at this point, if you see that on all these security cameras, you know who Daredevil is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which was, like I said, there are problems with the show with narrative things.
Yes. But it was far and away the best. They've done kind of a one-take fight in all 3 seasons.
Yes.
This was the best one.
Well, and they, for the most part, they did a really good job of parsing out the action throughout the series. Like the first time that Matt actually goes out and starts fighting people when he's not quite ready, he's still got clogged senses or whatever. And like he goes out to like basically
clogged senses.
Well,
I hear you.
One of my favorite things is get one of those neti pots and he like does it on his nose. I've done that before.
Yeah.
You get a what is it called? Infected sinus.
It's like a physical manifestation of the mental trauma that he's going through. Yeah, it's good.
I loved the I actually did. I loved the training montage. It was in the first couple episodes. I was like, this is some of the best like rising from the ashes Phoenix kind of shit that I've seen in a while.
It was good. What did you think of the whole mother reveal thing? How his mom is a nun.
Yes.
What did you think of that?
I liked it. I think it fits. I mean, it's comic accurate, but it also fits narratively with the character.
Okay.
I mean, he's, this self-hating Catholic dude. I mean, it would make sense that his mom would be a nun.
It's true. Yeah, it worked really well, I thought. All the whole season was good too. There wasn't really I wasn't finding myself in episodes where I was just like, "Oh my god, this is just fucking brutal." It
really only happened for me a few times with Karen, because Karen is just so dumb.
She's annoying.
She's just, and there's the part of me who's the liberal guy who's like, really? You got one main female character and this is what you do with her? You make her an idiot? Like it did. It just made me upset.
Yeah, but they were trying to show she was strong.
I know, which is why it's even more frustrating, because you're like, I know what you're going for, but you're missing the mark so wide.
What did you think of Foggy, too?
I didn't mind
I'm
Foggy.
getting a little tired of Foggy's little act, the little beta male pussy,
It gets a little annoying. It gets a little annoying.
It does. It really does.
I mean, the actor is fine, but it's the problem of these characters in the comics, they never really go anywhere. Nobody becomes a superhero. It's not like Foggy becomes mayor of New York or anything. So you're really limited as far as how much you can change the character. So they just keep reliving the same shit.
They should do something like that with Foggy, where he like turns into like this, a mayor or the DA or whatever.
They should take these characters in new directions. It's a new medium. You got to understand that it works in the comics because people like to see Foggy as the stalwart friend,
Yep.
But on a show, it becomes boring when he does the same thing every season.
That's an interesting thing too, is like how you're adapting something. It kind of limits what you think you can do. Like you feel like your next villain has to be villain X from issue whatever, but realistically, you could just make up one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Or you can redesign them like the Mandarin.
Oh, Jesus. No, don't do that. But hey, I like the idea of Foggy gets a little big-headed. He's got his hottie wife, and he's the DA, and he turns into kind of a prick.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Because then it's not Matt who's the one being the asshole all the time, which is they're like, oh, he lives a double life.
They do make that a thing too often, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, okay, we know. We get it.
Right.
Like, and they've done it for 3 seasons.
Yep.
Where... Yeah. Like
I said, the big thing for me that makes no sense and really sort of takes you out of the show is the fact that the FBI thinks that they want to arrest Matt Murdock because Fisk is like, oh, he's also a criminal because he helped me get out of prison or he worked for me or something like that. Basically, they start, Matt Murdock is a wanted man. And it's just a little ridiculous because you're like, really? He's one of the prosecuting attorneys that put Wilson Fisk away.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Like it just was so unbelievable. It's the biggest problem of the season.
That and just that FBI agent in general bothered me because it's like, God, they're dumb. You're that dumb right now.
They pushed it a little
too far.
Yeah,
right.
I think if he had figured things out maybe an episode sooner, I think we wouldn't be saying the same thing.
Yeah, that happens in a lot of these too, where it's like, I don't understand, and we'll talk about it next week, but the new Robin Hood movie has this problem.
Yes.
Where it's like you wrote a script where the hero or whoever is supposed to be like this big reveal secret to the other characters. Like the audience knows, but the other characters don't. And the way that the script would have had to have been written, it should be painfully obvious that you're basically implying that everyone in this world is dumb.
Yep.
And this happens too often in this kind of shit.
And it was nice that the way that they sort of got around that was that a lot of the people were already in bed with Fisk.
Yes, but that one character is dumb.
But that one character was it just went, like I said, an episode or two too long.
Yep, I would agree.
Last thing I want to say about it is I actually really kind of loved the first meeting of Bullseye and Daredevil when they're having the fight in
the newspaper. Place. Yeah, it was good.
Because, I mean, it showed why it was one of my favorite things that I love about fight scenes, which is when you have one person who functions one way in a fight and another person who functions a completely different way. So Daredevil needs to get in close because when there's a projectile, it's much harder for him to dodge something than if it's a punch. So he wants to get in close, but Bullseye wants to keep it a range fight. He wants to keep throwing things, knives, scissors, whatever. And throughout the whole fight, it's this, I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to move back. I'm trying, and it was fantastic. And the way that Bullseye was able to use literally everything around him was awesome.
Yeah. It's funny. That reminds me of like the difference, another key difference between like the original trilogy of Star Wars and the prequels is like all those Star Wars movies kind of had that where, Darth Vader's this like big brute fuck who's just going to hammer you with his lightsaber.
Yep.
And Luke has to
finesse his way around because
and when Return of the Jedi, Luke gets pissed.
Yeah.
And he turns into that.
Yep.
And then you watch the prequels and it's like, no, they're all just choreographed nonsense.
They're all just ninjas.
Yeah. They're all just there's no right.
Yeah. So it was really great. I wish that more fight scenes in general just were thought out in that way where there's strategy and there's preferences and styles.
The way people fight. Yes.
Yeah. So a good show, B+.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Definitely the best thing they've done since season 2 of Daredevil.
Yep. I forgot to mention, I really do like Charlie Cox. I think he is
good.
He's really good. I think he's hands down the best main character, like main actor in all of actually, he's probably the best actor outside of D'Onofrio in all of the series.
Yeah, I would agree. He's good. I really like him. D'Onofrio, though.
Yep. I mean, there's a reason he's a movie star.
He just chews up every scene he's in. It's so awesome.
The Marvel fan in me I just really want a Daredevil, Kingpin, Spider-Man crossover.
What if they did a Spider-Man movie and Vincent D'Onofrio was in it as Kingpin?
I would love.
It'd be great.
In all honesty, I would love it if he was like the reason the Sinister Six got together.
Okay.
That would be perfect. And then you could have, Spider-Man needs to team up with Daredevil.
It's funny. He's like one of the best like Marvel MCU villains, I would say. He's awesome.
He's easily in the top 5.
Yeah, he's great. So I would love to see him get put in the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
But because he was a pretty primary villain for Spider-Man, correct?
Yeah, Daredevil and Spider-Man, they basically share him. I mean, they're both New York-based heroes.
Yeah.
So I really want to see it. I don't think we'll ever see it.
No.
I just don't. The TV and movie divisions are just not going to get along until the Disney streaming thing comes out.
If they ever put Kingpin in another movie, they're going to have to really think about who they cast because it's going to be tough to follow him.
As far as I'm concerned, if you're not going to get D'Onofrio, hands are off on the character. You can't do him.
You don't think so?
I think so. I think people like him too much.
I would agree. But Haunting of Hill House.
Woo!
Yeah, nice segue there, right?
Yeah, no segue. That's fine.
No segue.
I loved this show.
This is like top 3 Netflix series for me. Right. I thought it was fucking amazing.
Yep.
Was not what I expected when I started watching it at all.
Yep.
It's a horror show. So when I've tried to talk my friends into watching it and stuff, and you can tell that they're like hesitant because they think it's just like a ghost show, which it is.
It is, but it's a great character drama.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
It's one of the best character dramas of like the last few years.
Yes, I would agree. So basically it's about this family. They, years ago they moved into this house that they were going to flip. They were going to, fix it up and resell it.
Yep.
The house has ghosts and things happened to them when they were kids. They all kind of had their moments in this house. And basically, was it like 30 years later or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, they're all grown up now, and they're all their childhood has affected them down the road in their lives.
Yep.
Some are dealing with drug addiction, depression, what have you, fucking problems they have.
Yep.
And they end up coming back together. And that's the show. It's a family drama.
It's effectively scary. It knows how to maintain a tone. All the characters are well written and likable. I think even the ones that are intended to be douchebags are likable.
Yeah, it's funny because the guy who's the main character in the first one, he wrote a book,
yes,
like an autobiography about the house and shit. And he's the one that you're kind of supposed to think is a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of get where he's coming from too. It's good performances all around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Thematically really dense.
Yes. Lots of little twists where they lots of sleight of hand where like you think one way and then an episode later when you see it from another character's point of view, you're kind of like, oh, I get it.
Yep. It's kind of one of those things where we talk about understanding genre and understanding the tropes of a genre. This understands the tropes and plays with them in really good ways.
I would agree.
To the point where the ending is actually I would say the ending is actually pretty surprising. Might not be for everybody because it feels a little out of left field, some of it.
Yes.
But it's still really good. It's actually, I'd say the ending is the thing that knocks it down from being, for me, my rankings are like Stranger Things, Dark, and those are actually like tied for first. And then probably either this or Maniac.
Okay. Yeah, no, see, I thought the ending was great because I wasn't expecting it. But,
yeah.
But yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. Well, grade-wise, what do you...
I give it an A.
I give it it's either a B plus or an A minus. It's just, I mean...
Yeah, this one's an A for me. The only thing I like better on Netflix is Dark. That's it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. But if you would have asked me like after the first season of Stranger Things, I would have given that an A as well.
Right.
We'll see what they do with this because I don't know, where they can go.
It's another Maniac. Just don't do anymore.
Right. They shouldn't.
It's perfect as is. It's just a long movie, just like Maniac was.
Very well made long movie. I'm glad that it was done in a series.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, there's no way that you could have all of the arcs pay off in these good ways.
Well, it's funny because the original Haunting of Hill House was a book, and they made the original movie The Haunting, and then they made one with like Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones in the late 90s,
God,
The Haunting.
Saw that.
It's not good. So yeah, it's very well designed for a 10-episode story. Everybody has a really well thought out character arc. Everything is tied up in a neat bow at the end.
Absolutely.
But yeah, spoilers. Now, what was your problem with the ending here?
It became a little too saccharine, a little too happy. I understand the thematic necessity for those things, but I had really built up, and it's probably a problem of expectations versus execution, because I had really built up what the mother had done. Gina Carano. Or not Gina Carano. What's her name?
Oh, God. It's something like that.
Yeah. It's Italian. I know it's Italian.
She was in that movie, the other Netflix movie, which was good.
Harold's Game?
Harold's Game, yeah.
And Silk Spectre, the original Silk Spectre in Watchmen.
Yep, she was the mother of the new Silk. It's Carla Gugino.
There we go.
There you go.
But I had really built up this thing that she had done that night that everybody had talked about. And when I saw what had actually happened and sort of like this truly horrific night that everybody had talked about, it is horrific, but it wasn't as big and bombastic as I had expected. I thought that there was going to be more ghost stuff. I thought it was going to be scarier.
See, that got me good with the little girl who I thought was a ghost, and she actually did kill her.
See, and that's where our expectations were different, is I actually thought she was real.
Okay.
And so when I was watching this, I was like, oh, well, of course she's going to be the one who
How
dies.
the hell did you nail that? Because I was thinking that the little kid with the glasses was like had an imaginary friend, basically, the whole series, and that was her.
I don't know why. I can't, because I watched this a couple weeks ago now, but I remember for the longest time I thought she was imaginary, but then there was a point where somebody said something. I think it was the father who was talking about his daughter.
Well, there's the dad who's talking about his daughter, and then there's the mother who's like the maid, and they'll only work there during the day or whatever. Yes,
and I think that was why I was like, oh, this is their daughter. I think I finally put it together.
I thought maybe it was like a ghost of their, because they had a miscarriage or something too that they talked about. So I didn't ping that was a real person. So that was like a big oh shit for me.
Yeah.
You know?
And I can understand why psychologically after you watch it in that context, it would be it would be more traumatic. But when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, well, I see where this is going. You're going to kill that kid.
Right.
And obviously we know all the other kids survive.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, well, and then like I didn't expect it to be a happy ending because usually something like this has some big, dumb, scary ending where like, you know, the house wins.
Right.
You know.
And it's tough because it's nice that they didn't do that. But at the same time, the whole time the house was like trying to kill them. And so then at the end, the house being like this place that you need to go and visit your family members and always remember the good times and all these things. It felt strange. It felt like a very strange change for the house, which is
it's weird because like if they just embraced the house, like let's say they just decided to live there, like would the house be so keen on killing them, or does the house just want to keep people there?
I think it just wants to keep people there.
Yeah. So,
which is why it wants to kill people
to keep them there.
Keep them there, but
it's almost like a stalkerish, overbearing like girlfriend or something,
right?
Where it's like it's not trying necessarily to scare the shit out of you all the time, but then it does, and then it pushes you away, and then it turns into the psycho who's like, "No, you will be with me," you know?
Yeah, but it was really weird too because it was, I mean, one of my favorite ghosts was the 1920s like flapper girl. One, the woman who like was insane.
Oh yes.
I really, really liked her a lot.
God, there were a few really awesome ghosts,
but I thought that she was kind of like the head ghost, the one that was making like the one who was leading all the other ghosts to try and harm them.
Sure,
you know. And so when she didn't get her way, I'm like, that's the other thing too. I'm like, you're going to stay in this house with this crazy ass bitch, like. No, I know it's a mansion and maybe she stays on this side. Now I'm just thinking logistics of it, you know?
Right.
But I'm just like, that makes no sense to me.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, if this was actually happening to you, would you think you were nuts? Because the mom kind of thinks she's nuts. Carla does, because she's got like the migraines happening. She thinks she's seeing shit. She thinks she's in and out of dreams.
She does have that, but at the same time, she tells her lesbian daughter that like she has like medium powers or empath powers too, and she gave her like the gloves. Right. So she
does believe in some sort of, but she keeps it a secret between them.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's still good. Like it's still a great show, but it's just the ending. I was like absolutely in love with the show until the very ending.
Well, I would say that the best stretch for the show are 4, 5, and 6. 4 being the Andy drug addict rehab episode, which was fucking great.
Yeah.
5 having the craziest ending to an episode I think I have ever seen.
Yes.
As far as a payoff is concerned.
The what was it? The youngest daughter.
The youngest daughter is seeing this bent neck lady. That's like they all have a ghost that sort of haunts them.
Yeah, which is nice. It's nice.
Yes.
I mean, it's all personalized. It represents their own personal demons. Great, fantastic.
Right. So this bent neck lady has been, showing up in her life. Her entire life has been just fucking torturing her, basically, scaring the shit out of her.
Yep.
And she goes to the house. And basically, her mother's ghost tricks her into hanging herself.
Yeah.
And you find out that she is the bent neck lady and that this is like a time thing as well.
That was one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, it was fucking... And the way it was done with her falling through the different...
Through time.
Yes. And you're seeing every moment that you had seen her up until then in the show.
Which becomes one of the most... fantastic. It is, I think, the best thing in the whole show because of what it does for the show. Because it integrates, like, I like time, which is why we talk about dark. I love dark. But it's this idea of like, once you're dead, wouldn't time be irrelevant? You're on a wholly different plane of existence. So this idea that she became her ghost throughout all of time was fantastic.
Well, and she was trying to like warn her.
Yes. And then it gets you to my favorite part of the ending, which is the room was a different room for all of them, which was great. The room with the red door. And the fact that she saves them or helps save them and she says like these words like blah 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 blah, and they're like, oh my god, she's crazy. And then she repeats it again, but now it makes sense in the context of the conversation. She's like, sorry, all of time was out of order, and she was just, I don't know, becoming used to being a ghost or whatever. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Oh God, is it ever? Oh, that's the only time I can remember ever clapping in my room by myself, like in my living room at the end of an episode. I could not believe it. It was awesome. It was such a good payoff.
Yes.
So good. And then the next one, we get one of Netflix's single shot, probably 3 shots in the whole episode.
Yeah, 3 or 4 shots, and each shot is like at least 15 minutes long.
And they must have built some crazy sets or used some sort of camera magic on this, because it was fucking crazy. Like, and then there's even one where the camera turns and like goes around the whole room, and it's like you see the children, and then by the time you just picture the actors like shuffling in and out of the scene.
That was exactly, I was like, oh man, the directors are really good, because they're getting all those kids out of that room right now. They're hiding behind the wall. It was really good. It was really, really good.
Some of the creepier moments. I think my favorite creepy moment, outside of the hanging girl falling through time, in space or whatever, was there's a scene that's where the oh God, I forget what character it is, but the daughter who's dead, who hung herself, sits up in the morgue. Oh yeah, and she's got her jaw wired shut. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, like stuff like that, little details like that. There's a scene right at the beginning, one of the first episodes, where one of the kids, I think it's maybe the 4th episode, the Andy episode, falls in. They've got a dumbwaiter, and he goes into the basement, and this like leg or hand or something pops out from behind this crate.
And it's all dark down there. And, like the older sister's trying to get him up. She can't, like...
Yeah, it's a panicked scene.
Yeah, and you're talking about first times. I don't think I've ever said this while watching anything scary in my life, but I literally go, oh, shit. When that hand came out, and then like the head pops out and it's like this zombie looking thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I was scared for that kid.
The part that got me the most, because I'm terrified of bugs, or they just fucking are disgusting, was great. The cat.
Yes.
Like,
these little kittens, these box of kittens.
And the show tricks you, because I was thinking like, oh, she's the only one who can see this. This is like her imagining the ghost cat or whatever. Yeah. But no, it's just a bug coming out of the cat's fucking mouth.
Yeah. Ugh. That was great. It was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the show. The way it dealt, the whole addiction thing was amazing with that character. The whole like going to rehab, and he befriends this girl who ends up fucking him over.
One of my favorite things every episode, because it starts with each one of the children.
Right.
They all get their own episode. One of my favorite things was, I got 2 things. One, I liked the fact that the man that always was following him around,
the bowler hat
guy, it's just this amazing metaphor for his addiction.
Yeah, it just follows him.
It just follows him everywhere, and he can't get away. I was like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that he actually goes to his older brother's place, and he steals some stuff. But we find out why, and he's all like shaking and stuff. And you think that he's on drugs. You think he's on crack again. He's not. He's feeling the death of his twin sister.
He was doing heroin, by the way.
Wait, what?
Not crack.
Or heroin. Sorry. I forgot which.
Get it right. It's a downer, not an upper. But I like the scene where his sister takes him to get his like last fix before he goes in. I mean, whoever wrote this addict, whoever wrote it nailed it, because that is how it's weird.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I have never had to help somebody with that, and I've never gone through it myself, but I was just like, this feels real to me.
It was very well done. Now, that scene when she like drops him, or she goes and gets the drugs for him and brings it back, and you're like, God, it's funny because you shouldn't be doing this. It's like enablement kind of, but you do understand why. And, just whatever gets him to fucking go. Yeah. So I was highly impressed with that whole way they handled the addiction thing. Something I didn't like.
Okay.
I don't like that Henry Thomas and what's his name? Charles or Patrick Sutton or whatever.
Oh, the fact that they had two people playing the father.
I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me.
It does take you out of it because you're like...
Timothy Hutton
okay.
is the older father.
It does take you out of it because, one, I'm like, that haircut that he has as an old man, he didn't have that as a young man. And more often than not, you don't go for like the longer haired, slick back look, like a weird hippie, like a quasi hippie. You don't go for that when you start getting into your 40s and 50s. That's something that's a holdover from a younger age. So it's like, that took me out of it. And also it's like, the dude looks old enough. Just put some makeup on him.
A couple strands of gray hair, a little makeup. Yeah.
And I
think you could have, both of the actors were fine. You could have even done the older actor could have played the younger version. I don't understand two actors. It's not the same as the kids where it's like clearly a 5-year-old can't play someone when they're 35.
Something I forgot to mention in the scares. The fact when the dead sister pops out from behind the other sisters in the minivan as they're driving.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is the ultimate jump scare.
Yes.
Because you are so sucked into the drama of what the conversation is about and just
perfect.
Boom.
Perfect. It really is kind of amazing because they suck you in with... It's something that made me realize like what's missing from a lot of these horror movies is like you have to invest us in like the personal struggles of the characters.
You have to care about what happens to the characters.
So that you can actually get wrapped up in a moment. So when something scary comes, you're not expecting it.
Yes.
You have to be distracted by something else, and that only happens when you care.
You mean it's not scary when they show up at the church and there's just an old lady nun sitting in the church going,
well, hello, priest.
Yeah, that's what the fuck.
I'm a normal nun.
I'm interested to see what does this, create? Because I know we had American Horror Story, which has been really successful. I thought the first season of that was pretty good, not nearly as good as this, but it's a good showcase of like, okay, horror can be taken seriously.
Right.
There can be real thematic meaning within the story.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that like, something like what's the biggest horror movie to come out? I mean, there was the new Halloween, which isn't that.
Right.
There's a little, themes going on, but I guess was a good example of something where they're trying to do something elevated as far as, the meaning behind it. But I'm hoping that this can spawn a lot of new good shit in the genre, especially if they're going to be making these TV series,
Yes. Well, I'd say, we talk about sort of things rising and falling in popularity. This is the height, I'd say, of horror, probably since the 80s.
It's getting good, man.
Because, you've got, like you said, Hereditary, we've got Suspiria, we've got this, we've got Stranger Things has aspects of horror. It's becoming to the point where actually horror is getting integrated in other genres.
Right.
And other genres are being brought, like we said, this is a character drama.
It totally is. It's a soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this has a dramatic effect on the genre in general. But I'm also not sure if it will because I don't know how popular it is.
I think this has been pretty popular, pretty successful for them. I wish it all the success in the world.
Right.
Everyone should watch this show.
Oh, yeah, it's a must-see.
Very good. But yeah, if that's, do we have any other shows to review today? I know in the future at some point, Dark Season 2 is coming out, folks, and we will be rewatching the first season of that and doing an entire episode on it.
Yes, that's a must.
I'm going to, as a final recommendation, it's a movie, so we're going to discuss it on our podcast next week, the real podcast, not the bonus episode, but the Ballad of Buster Scruggs just came out from the Coen brothers.
Right.
Netflix original, big cast, tons of people It's an anthology film. It's got 6 mini films in it.
Oh, damn,
all
6.
kind of different in tone as they go.
Okay.
Coen brothers through and through.
All right.
There's like a musical one. It's a fun little movie. I really liked 4 out of the 6. I thought one of them was okay, and I thought one of them was pretty bad. So that'll be my tease for for next week. But watch that.
At some point, I think we're probably going to do maybe some reviews on just some Netflix original movies
Films,
in general.
yes, for sure.
Because
Yeah,
they do have some great ones. They also have some really shit
stinkers,
ones.
like really bad.
Death Note, Bright,
I haven't seen either of those.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, geez, you're naming the stinkers now. I'm assuming
they're all bad.
All right. Before we leave, though, I do want to announce that there has been a winner of the Prequel album from Ghost, Macnez. That's Macnez. And it looks like he actually runs a couple podcasts. So check him out. It's Macnez on Instagram. Congratulations for the win, sir. Enjoy.
Congrats, Macnez. I believe that's the end of the episode, though, right?
I believe so.
All righty. So thank you for listening to this special one.
Yeah, Bored and Annoyed on Netflix.
I'm usually not.
Yeah, well,
except
I am
for
when I'm
searching.
looking for shit. Yeah.
That's the worst.
I mean, we could do a whole 10-minute segment on that.
I mean, how do we fix that, though? Like, in general.
That's the problem. I don't think there's a good way to set it up. There's just too much shit.
No, that's the answer.
Get
less shit. Or I don't know, maybe I'm tired of looking in, like, I don't know. There are so many foreign films and there are so many just low budget crap movies. It would be nice if Netflix was just honest and would say, like, have a section that says, we got these for cheap.
Yeah, there you go. Or let the user set up what they want. Like when you log in, what are you in the mood for? First thing.
Yeah.
First thing, what are you in the mood for? Little checkbox next to a genre.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And take out the shit that you've already seen. Take it right out of that
Out
thing.
of the menu.
Out of that. So it's like, okay. And then you can, if you want to, go back to you've already watched.
I'm sure they've never thought of any of this.
Sometimes I wonder, man. Sometimes I just think they just let the algorithm do what it wants.
Yeah, there you go. But hey, thank you for listening, and we'll be back in a couple days.
Yes. Bye-bye.